Me with my girlfriend of 2 years. Her mom wants her to explore other options. It's wearing us down. I want to share a challenging situation I've been facing in my relationship with my girlfriend, who I'll call Sarah. We've been together for 2 years, and while things have generally been great between us, there's been a significant hurdle that has started to wear us down: Sarah's mother. The first time I met Sarah's mom was at a wedding. It wasn't a disaster, but it didn't go as smoothly as I had hoped. I was distracted by friends and the usual wedding festivities, and I didn't engage with her as much as she would have liked. Since that day, I've sensed a slight distaste from her, which has only grown over time. I've met Sarah's dad a few times, and we get along well. But her mom? That's a different story. Recently, I discovered that Sarah and her mom have been having intense arguments about our relationship. Her mom has been very vocal about her belief that I'm not the right person for Sarah, and has been pushing her to explore other options. These discussions happen every time Sarah visits her parents, which is at least once or twice a month. Just last week, things escalated to the point where Sarah had to defend our relationship passionately, and her mom even had a nervous breakdown during the argument. It was a lot for both of them. To add to the complexity, Sarah's mom has been trying to set her up on a date with a guy she knows through a friend. This guy is a complete stranger to me, and the thought of Sarah going out with him makes me uneasy. Despite my concerns, Sarah felt that accepting the date might be the best way to appease her mom. She thought that if she went on just one date and explained why she didn't like him afterward, it might help thaw the tension between them. I was torn. I couldn't understand how she could consider this. I asked her how she would feel if I went on a date with someone else, and she admitted it would hurt her deeply. Yet here she was, contemplating this date. I tried to suggest alternatives, like telling the guy that she's already in a relationship, but she didn't want to ruin the date. That response left me feeling frustrated and worried that her mom's influence was getting to her. Things took a turn when Sarah mentioned that if the date happened soon, she couldn't say no. This made me feel like I was losing her to her mom's controlling behavior. We had always had a perfect relationship, and now it felt like we were on different wavelengths, struggling to connect amidst this chaos. In an attempt to mend things, Sarah had a good idea: to write a letter to her mom, expressing my desire to meet her, and explaining how much our relationship means to us. I agreed to this, thinking it might help, but after reading some responses online, I started to doubt the effectiveness of that approach. I realized that the letter might not change her mom's mind, and I wanted to play a supportive role without directly confronting her mother. As I reflected on the situation, I began to understand that if Sarah went on this date, it would only empower her mom to push harder against our relationship in the future. I feared that giving in would lead to a slippery slope where her mom would continue to meddle in our lives. I felt a sense of urgency to address this before it spiraled further out of control. I wanted to protect our relationship and ensure that we remained united against external pressures. It was a tough spot to be in, and I knew that we needed to find a way to navigate this challenge together. In the end, I realized that I had to trust Sarah to make the right decision for herself, but I also needed to stand firm in my beliefs about our relationship. It was a delicate balance, and I hoped that we could find a way to communicate openly and support each other through this difficult time. I never thought I would find myself in a situation like this, but here I am, grappling with the unexpected strain on my relationship. My girlfriend and I had been together for 2 wonderful years, and I thought we were on solid ground. But then, her mother entered the picture, and things took a turn I never saw coming. It all started when my girlfriend's mother expressed her belief that my girlfriend should explore other options before fully committing to our relationship. At first, I brushed it off as just another overbearing parental concern. After all, my girlfriend had dated quite a bit before we got together, and she seemed to know what she wanted. We had a great connection, and I believed that our love was genuine. Yet, her mother's insistence that my girlfriend keep the relationship open began to wear us down. I tried to talk to my girlfriend about it, urging her to stand her ground against her mother's influence. I felt that if she didn't, we would be stuck dealing with her mother's toxicity for the rest of our lives. But my girlfriend was torn. She loved her mother and didn't want to hurt her feelings. We ended up arguing for hours, and it became clear that this was a significant issue between us. Then, during one of our discussions, my girlfriend revealed that she had agreed to go on a coffee date with another guy, a decision that sent me into a tailspin. I felt disrespected, not just by her choice, but by the fact that her mother had manipulated her into believing that an open relationship was a good idea. I lost all respect and trust for her in that moment. It felt like everything we had built together was crumbling because of an external force. Despite my anger, I tried to remain calm. I told her that I couldn't support this decision and that if she went through with it, I would likely walk away for good. She cried, and for the first time, I didn't feel sympathy for her. My mind was already made up. I was done. I had to protect myself from the emotional turmoil that was brewing. As we parted ways, I felt a mix of defeat and sadness. We had shared so many good times together, and it hurt to think that an outside influence could destroy what we had. I couldn't help but feel that I was losing something incredibly special because of someone else's opinions. It was a painful realization that I had no control over the situation, and I was left feeling defeated. In the days that followed, I reflected on our relationship. I remembered the laughter, the late-night talks, and the moments of pure joy we shared. It was hard to accept that it had all come crashing down so suddenly. I had never experienced a breakup like this before, and the thought of moving on felt daunting. I decided to reach out to her one last time to retrieve some books I had left at her place. I figured it would be a simple exchange, but part of me knew that it would also be a chance to say goodbye. I didn't want to drag things out, and I certainly didn't want to give her the impression that I would be waiting around for her to decide what she wanted. As I prepared for that conversation, I felt a mix of anxiety and relief. I knew I had to be firm in my decision, but part of me still held on to the hope that she would realize the impact of her mother's influence and the value of what we had. But deep down, I understood that I had to prioritize my own well-being. This experience has taught me a lot about love, respect, and the importance of standing firm in the face of outside pressures. While it hurts to let go of someone I cared for deeply, I know that I deserve a relationship built on mutual respect and trust, free from the toxicity of outside influences. As I move forward, I hope to find that kind of love again, one that is genuine and unwavering. I want to share a story about my relationship with my girlfriend, who I've been with for 2 years. We're both in our late 20s, and while we've had some wonderful moments together, we've recently been facing a significant challenge that's been weighing heavily on us. The trouble began when my girlfriend's mother started expressing her desire for her to explore other romantic options. This was not just a casual suggestion. It felt like a persistent push from her mother, who seemed to have a very specific vision of what she wanted for her daughter's future. My girlfriend, being an only child from a traditional family, found it difficult to stand up to her mother. She often cited her upbringing and the pressure of family expectations as reasons for her hesitance to assert her own desires. At first, I tried to be understanding. I knew how important family was to her, and I wanted to support her in navigating this tricky situation. However, as time went on, I began to feel increasingly frustrated. It seemed like her mother's influence was creating a rift between us, and I couldn't shake the feeling that my girlfriend was being manipulated. One day, during a particularly tense conversation, I expressed my concerns. I told her that I felt like she was using her mother's expectations as an excuse to avoid making a decision about our relationship. I believed that she was testing the waters with someone else while keeping me as a backup plan. This realization hit hard, and I knew I had to take a stand. I suggested that we take a break to give her some space to think things through. I hoped that this would allow her to reflect on what she truly wanted, free from her mother's influence. However, I also worried that this break might lead her to explore other options, which was not something I wanted. As we navigated this difficult period, I found myself questioning everything. Was I being unreasonable? Should I have been more accommodating to her family dynamics? The emotional toll was significant, and I felt like I was losing my partner to external pressures. In the end, I realized that I needed to prioritize my own well-being. I decided to step back from the relationship and let her figure things out on her own. It was a painful decision, but I knew that I couldn't continue to be in a situation where I felt like a second choice. Looking back, I hope that my girlfriend finds the clarity she needs, whether that's with me or someone else. Relationships can be complicated, especially when family dynamics come into play. but I believe that everyone deserves to be with someone who chooses them wholeheartedly.